and go from there.
Yeah, excellent, Robert. And apologies, everybody, I can't make the video work. We'll do with the slides, but I have a very, very exciting presentation for all of you. So I'm going to talk about a new technology that the most leading companies use to create a digital brain on top of their supply chains, to plan their business, to sense what's going on in the market, and to respond to disruptions. Yeah? So I work for a company called Kinaxis, and we have built a unique technology to make that happen. And in the last years, as the number of disruptions increased, and we all heard about COVID, of course, but there has been the Suez Canal incident. There have been problems in Japan with earthquakes. So we had many, many disruptions. And so to respond to all this more efficiently and in a more agile manner, companies need to learn as well. And planning, sensing, and responding to the environment is not good enough anymore. So the digital brain that we offer to our customers is not only reacting to changes anymore, but is learning from each disruption, what worked, what didn't work. And of course, we use machine learning and AI to do that. And so I'm going to talk about our unique technology. I'm going to talk about the base capabilities of our digital brain. And then I'm going to explain the state-of-the-art machine learning and AI that we use to learn and prepare for the next disruption. I won't try to get the video to work with sound. And so there is a link to a video at the bottom of this slide. It's a story about Procter & Gamble and how they use our digital brain to navigate around a hurricane in real time. And so you might all remember there has been a year, I don't remember exactly which one, when many hurricanes were hitting the east coast of the United States, and some stores were not being supplied, and P&G managed to elegantly navigate following the path of the hurricane and make sure that their suppliers' disruptions were minimized and that the store still got P&G products. And so this is a story told by P&G. I will encourage you to go on that YouTube video. It's on YouTube. If you look for P&G big ideas from Kinaxis, you will find that story after my presentation. So what we talk about when we talk about a digital brain, it's really a self-learning supply chain. It's about planners looking at the business, trying to plan the future of the company, but being assisted by machine learning and AI to respond to disruptions and problems almost in real time, as I explained. That's what I'm going to talk about. So my background has always been in optimization, especially in supply chain optimization. My name is very similar to Alex Rogo, the hero of a book that many of you might know, The Goal, written by Eliyahu Goldratt, which in the 80s brought optimization theory to business. And so I've been working in that space my whole life, optimizing businesses. But over the last 20, 30 years, optimizing a supply chain and optimizing a business was a really time-consuming and painful exercise amongst different people and teams in each company, and also between companies. And with the level of disruptions that we face today, we need a much more agile way to optimize our business. And with Kinaxis, I'm finally in a company where we have a solution to this problem. It's not about making sure we have the best possible plan. It's about making sure we have that best possible plan every day when there is a change happening. So first, a little bit about Kinaxis and our unique rapid response technology. We are a recognized leader in the industry, whether it's Gartner or IDC or Nucleus Research, all of them praise our technology and confirm that Kinaxis has one of the best technologies to plan your supply chain and respond to disruptions. We are based in Ottawa, and we have developed our technology with a lot of different manufacturing leaders. We are currently operating across 7 verticals, and I'm going to share them on the next slides. We have a unique platform. It's one solution. It's almost like Uber or Facebook. So it's one platform that all our customers use to create that digital brain on top of their supply chain. So this is the industry verticals that we cover. And what you see is that Kinaxis is present in 7 major industries. The 6 that you see on this slide, which are manufacturing verticals. And we also started to operate in the retail industry. What you also see is that some of our customers are very advanced and are some of the leaders in supply chain management. If you talk about P&G, Lenovo, Unilever, Schneider, Toyota, these are real leaders. But we also work with all sizes of companies. Now you could see smaller companies, larger companies. There is a whole nice mix of customers taking advantage of this new way of optimizing your supply chain in a real time. At the core of our platform is a unique calculation model, which we call concurrent planning, and which allows this real-time responses to events. And it basically has 4 components. It has a high-performing algorithm, which can really compute and understand the consequences of any change in your supply chain in real time. And so if you have a change in the demand, for example, the orders change, everybody, whether it's the plants, the DCs, or the suppliers, can be notified in real time and respond to the problem. So that's the first component. The second component is configurability. If you want to solve the supply chain problem, you have to work across multiple silos within a company, but also across companies. And so what you need to give is, you need to give every user or every planner or every decision maker the dashboards with the KPIs, the reporting information, and the analysis context that they need. And so we have a highly configurable platform, and the platform allows everybody to collaborate with each other. So if you made a business plan and there is a change to that plan, you can exchange it with anyone in the company or outside the company. There are built-in collaboration workflows where people exchange scenarios and understand the consequences and then choose the best solution for their problems in a collaborative manner. And last but not least, I heard the previous speaker talk about scenarios. Our platform has a unique scenario concepts, and the uniqueness is that any planner or any user of the system, whether you have 100 system users or 2,000 users, can create scenarios and analyze and understand what the change means for their own function. The reason is that we don't build copies of the plan each time you build a scenario, but every scenario is kept as a delta to the live plan. So that saves us a lot of space and capacity, and it makes it possible to have thousands of scenarios operating at the same time. And also to manage these scenarios, we have a unique way of promoting scenarios, allowing people to select scenarios as they collaborate, and then make one of the scenarios the ultimate decision that needs to be executed. So these 4 components are at the core of our platform, and we label them as concurrent planning because they allow a company to do all the planning exercises in a single step rather than in multiple steps. The older technologies than Kinaxis, they used to provide modules, and therefore when you had demand planning, supply planning, inventory planning, capacity planning, or S&OP, as you see at the core of this picture, it had to be done in steps, and every function had to finish their job before passing on the results to the next function. And these old technologies were therefore not very agile, and we are much more agile. We can reflect changes in real time and therefore help companies to react to disruptions in a much faster manner. So as I said, and I'm not going to cover all the technical details of our platform, but the real secret sauce or the secret ingredient of our platform are all these elements. You need all these elements that you see here to have a platform like Kinaxis, and that's why we are unique. That's why we have the best solution in times of uncertainty, in times where companies need to be agile. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how the platform works. So the platform is not a standalone solution. What we do is we integrate with any other execution system. And so our customers have SAP or other execution systems. And basically what we do is we figure out which data from all these systems we need to build a digital twin of the supply chains we want to represent in our environment on the left-hand side. And then when we have a decision, we send it back to the right-hand side to these execution systems for execution. And so if you think about our platform, it sits on top of all the other systems that customers have, but it really gives you an end-to-end supply chain view, a digital twin of your supply chain. You can extend it with your suppliers, you can extend it with your customers, and that way you get an end-to-end view of everything that is happening in the supply chain, all the problems that pop up, whether it's on the demand side or on the supplier side, and you see the consequences for all the parties involved. That's really the philosophy of the integration. The benefit is pretty easy to explain, and that's why we have a strong demand these days. Our growth is spectacular in the last quarters. CEOs and C-suites have become really sensitive to the fact that COVID and other disruptions require a solution, and therefore they are looking for solutions. And we are the obvious solution because we support 100 times faster decision making and 57% shorter planning cycles. So whenever there is a change that affects the supply chain, solving that problem is faster on an ongoing basis, but also when there is a problem, we can solve that problem much faster with our technology. The details behind how we do that are summarized on this slide. I'm not going to explain them in detail because you can read them. We'll share these slides. I want to move fast so that you get a feel and an understanding of how this digital control tower technology works and how it fixes disruptions for the companies we work with. So this slide summarizes the increase in disruptions that we have faced. Everybody remembers the Australian wildfires, hurricanes. It keeps coming at us. And these disruptions, of course, have a high impact on supply chains around the world, especially global supply chains, but also local and regional ones. And that impacts business performance. So that's where we come into the picture. And the way our platform operates is that, as I said, that it's highly configurable. So we basically work with events. Our platform is not called rapid response for no reason. The idea is that whenever a signal comes up about a problem in the supply chain, automatically some processes are activated and automatically the exceptions are triggered, are shared with the right people and decision makers. Workflows come into action about possible solutions for these problems, and then a decision support framework is in place to make sure that the best decisions are being executed. So that's really the whole framework on which our platform operates. And what is important is we have internal alerts, and so our planning logic and our mathematics already detect problems. But in addition, we can enrich our problem and alert framework with alerts and problems that are signaled by our Solex partners. So we have solution extension partners, which you see here on the left-hand side, like Wahupa, Everstream, Levadata, Forflow, etc. They are all specialized in certain types of alerts, for example, hurricanes or inventory issues or production issues or transportation issues or recycling issues. So they operate in very specific niche areas and they generate alerts enriched by machine learning that we ingest in our platform, and that enriches our framework of rapid response to disruptions. So this is the whole concept of our control tower, and I think that's probably the most important slide of the whole presentation. So as I explained, the first pillar of our solution is the digital twin. So we make a digital copy or a digital representation of the supply chain of our customer, their suppliers and their customers. On top of that, we have a visibility layer where we can see any alerts, whether it's our own ones or the ones from our Solex partners, our solution extension partners. And then, as I explained, we can monitor root cause and resolve problems with our powerful algorithms, which we call concurrent planning, and which then lead to the best potential solution to solve the problem that then is sent back to execution. That's really the whole logic of our digital control tower, and that's what we build for our customers. You can implement it fully, or you can build and implement it in small, discrete steps and incrementally add capability to the platform. Few concepts. So what we do is we plan the business, we detect issues, we respond to issues, and then, as I said, we use machine learning to learn and to prepare for the next disruptions. So that's really the philosophy. And the goal is really to become more agile when we optimize a business. And the way to become more agile is to stimulate collaboration amongst silo functions within a company and across companies, but also make sure that everybody is working towards the same KPIs and objectives. Typically, in a company, every function has different KPIs, different operational KPIs. Then there are different business targets. Well, when we go through this cycle that you see here, plan, detect, respond, and learn, we try to optimize the plans of our customers, which means that we make sure that the KPIs that matter to them and the trade-offs between these KPIs are respected by all players involved in that collaboration. So this is how concurrent planning works. Basically, when there is a change on the left side or on the right side on this picture, automatically everybody gets notified and knows the consequences for themselves. And if the problem cannot be solved within the boundaries that have been defined and the rules of the algorithms, an alert is being triggered so that the planners and other decision makers can start collaborating on alternative plans and understand the business implications of these alternative plans. So that was the plan part. In terms of detection, I talked about alerts, and we can configure alerts of all types. So internal alerts based on our algorithms, or external alerts based on what our solution extension providers tell us. This all alert concept is configurable by user and by company. And there are different displays that are available with different KPIs, etc., etc. And once you have detected the problems and understood and done the root cause analysis, and there is sufficient understanding and explainability about what is going on, we use scenarios to resolve the problem. To summarize and explain and illustrate what I'm talking about, I've used an example with one of our solution extension partners, Levadata, who is specialized in risk management. So let's assume you have a risk that pops up. So the steps are pretty straightforward. Every risk is not a trigger for action, so we need to do some impact analysis. Once we understand the impacts and the exceptions that need to be addressed, then we need to respond through a scenario and come to the right scenario to address that risk. And so our whole solution makes this a seamless exercise, independent what the type of alert is. And as I explained, we have internal alerts. Levadata provides some alerts around risk management, and all the other partners that you see at the bottom, they provide alerts about other types of problems that could occur in your supply chain. We are continuously adding new partners to the ecosystem, and so we will be able to solve and address more and more supply chain alerts and risks in the future. These slides that I'm not going to detail out explain a few other examples of use cases of the type of problems that we can solve. What you see is that We can solve problems across plan, source, make, deliver, and return. And so we have this ability. So our scenarios and our problem resolution covers the end-to-end supply chain and the end-to-end supply chain processes. So this use case is about quality and on-time delivery issues from suppliers. I have another use case about supply delays due to port disruption. I have another use case due to plant failure due to a hurricane. And so there are many, many different types of alerts we can address. These are just a few examples. And as we evolve this solution, we build a bigger and bigger library of use cases. This one is around delay in shipping. And as I said, we have a big ecosystem of partners, which is continuously growing. This brings me to the last point. So I explained that we have evolved our solution, and we used to plan, detect, and solve problems with scenarios. Now we also learn from previous disruptions, leveraging machine learning and AI. And this works in two ways. But before I get there, I want to explain what is so different about our AI and ML. Our vision is really to make it as hands-off as possible. And to do that, our AI needs to be fully explainable. So that's really our main focus, is to make sure that when we inject AI and machine learning in the platform and assist the planners and decision makers to evaluate scenarios and understand what is the best solution to a disruption, the AI is invisible, but the results that the AI produces are fully explainable. That's really, really important to us. So we have two ways, as I said, to use AI ML in our platform. The first one is our predictive capabilities, which we grouped under the label demand sensing. And the idea there is that the forecasts that are generated in our platform based on statistics are replicating the past, but that the past is not always a good predictor for the future. So we need to ingest signals and understand signals that tell us that the past is not going to happen again. And we do that through AI ML. So we ingest events, for example, people attending concerts, to try to adjust the forecasts around beer consumption, for example. So that's an example of demand sensing. Or transport changes in a certain region could be impacting demand for certain B2B products. So we are ingesting specific information that is not available in the historic data series that we use to forecast, to improve the forecasts with AI/ML. So that's one of the applications that we have. That's one developed by Kinaxis and is offered to our customers, mainly in the CPG industry and retail, but we are expanding now to other industries. So this is how it works. I'm not going to go too much in the details, but as I said, we ingest data, we interpret whether they are meaningful to improve the forecasts or not, and then we adjust or improve our forecasts, our statistical forecasts, with the machine learning and data science that we ingest in the platform. So that's one application of machine learning to help decision makers in case of disruptions. The other one is the self-learning capability that I already explained. So whether it's for predictive maintenance, risk management, transport delays, manufacturing quality issues, or anything else, we can ingest signals from other partners. These partners are also using AI/ML. They are also using interpretation of what is happening and whether these events are meaningful or not. And that then leads to automated support and resolution workflows in our platform. So few screens to illustrate how this really works. So imagine you have a port closure. So this could impact your suppliers if you are a manufacturer. It could delay the start of a production for a new product. And there are many things that could happen due to a port closure. And that's the same for all the other issues and disruptions that you see on this dashboard. And so as I said, our idea is when we know about a disruption, we want to show the users and the supply chain experts and decision makers what are the implications for them and what are their scenarios, options, and resolution levers that they can use to address these problems. These are other visualizations about how we automate the resolution of these problems in the platform, because it's good to flag alerts. Everybody talks about visibility, but at the end of the day, if you don't have the right scenarios to address your problem, you just look at the problem and you can't really fix it. So we really put our focus on the resolution and scenarios to address the problems rather than just flagging the problems. This slide talks about the business case to solve this problem. So as I explained, I spent my last 20 years optimizing supply chains, which was about customer service, cost control, and working capital. And on the right-hand side, you can see what kind of benefits you could get from optimization and from using better planning technology. But what Kinaxis brings to the table is to be able to do that optimization that you see here between customer service, cost, and inventory. But in addition, to be agile enough to react to disruptions or to anticipate disruptions in a more agile way. And that's the magic that our customers need today. Because if you take 3 weeks to come to the best possible plan, the world has already changed. There are new problems that you have to take into consideration, and all your plans that you made with a lot of other parties and discussed and optimized have become obsolete. So with our platform, you can do all that in real time and really react and respond to the changes as they happen, continuously optimizing your service, your costs, your inventory, or any other KPI that your business needs to optimize. So in a nutshell, if we summarize the Kinaxis definition of agility, it's really about making sure everybody who has a role and a decision in what the optimal supply chain needs to do, all these parties, they should all try to achieve the same. They should work on the same scenarios together in a collaborative manner. And this is what our control tower makes possible. That's the end of my presentation, Robert. I don't know if we have time for Q&A.